Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Todd Bowen from sittingposture.com. Welcome to today's video, Computer Posture Mistakes and Fixes, episode 24. Here's a picture. It is a great example of three things three variables that I like to practice when sitting at a computer. Number one, over here, this guy, his eye level is actually a little bit below the top of the monitor screen. So he's got to look up a little bit to see the top of it, and he's got to look down to see the bottom. Believe it or not, that does cause a lot of overuse in the back muscles of the neck, posterior muscles of the neck. So constantly looking up and down to read his monitor screen. I know it sounds crazy, but that will make a big difference. I had a lot of issues in the back of my neck from looking down at the bottom of my monitor screen too much. Now this guy over here, look on the right, he's got his eye level even with the top of the monitor screen, which is perfect, and he looks down slightly at a 45-degree angle to see the bottom of his screen, so he doesn't have to constantly go back and forth up and down like this guy on the left does. Number two, the elbow over here on the left is below the desk level. What that causes is to contract the bicep. Even though his wrists are rested on the table, he has to contract that bicep in order to lift that hand and put it on the table or the keyboard or the mouse. And that bicep stays contracted all day long. This is in my case, maybe not for everybody, but this is what happened to me when I had all my posture issues sitting at a computer. So when that bicep stays contracted all day long, we're really not gonna notice it. It's just gonna get tight. It's probably not gonna hurt, but what's gonna hurt is either the elbow or the shoulder, because those two biceps are connected to the elbow bone, the bones in the elbow and bones in the shoulder by tendons. So those tendons are what get the inflammation before we start feeling muscle pain from overuse. So that's a great reason for shoulder pain. Not all reasons. It's not the only reason for shoulder pain from sitting at a computer, but it's one of the main reasons for sitting at a computer is having that bicep contracted. And all it takes is lifting the seat up just a little bit to raise that elbow a couple inches. You don't want to just hunch your shoulders up and raise that elbow with your chair in the same position, because that's going to cause other issues. So raise that chair up a couple inches, and it's going to put that elbow all above the desk level like it is over here. Don't pay attention to this armrest, because I'm not a fan of armrests on office chairs. They're always way too wide. So what that does is that causes us to flare our elbows out to the side. And in order to do that, we got to contract muscles up in the top of our shoulders. And that could lead to a lot of overuse up there. There's the trap muscles in the back over here, in the upper back, and also the scalene muscles in the neck. All kinds of issues. Muscles around the collarbone, the chest. The chest tightened up right below my collarbone when I used to use armrests. So don't pay attention to the armrests here. I'm actually not a fan of armrests at all on office chairs. I wrote an article about it. I'll include that link in the description of this video if you guys want to check it out. It's on my website. Or you could it's easy link to remember, sittingposture.com/armrests. Sittingposture.com/armrests. But anyway, getting back to today's info, that elbow is slightly above the desk over here, which relaxes the bicep, which in turn will lead to much more functional use and less inflammation in the shoulder and in the elbow. Last but not least, look at these feet right here, how he's on his toes. I sat like this for a long time, whether it's because his chair's too low or he works a stressful job, or just because his posture's bad and he doesn't know any better, like I didn't. His hamstring, same thing with the bicep here. So the hamstring being contracted all day long pulls those feet under his body. What that does, it does a lot of things here. It compresses the muscles in the front of the ankle. There's a tibialis muscle there that runs from the foot up to the top of the shin. That has a lot to do with lifting the toes when running and jumping or doing anything really. So you're compressing that muscle there while you're overextending the Achilles tendon, the calf muscles, all this in the posterior side of his lower leg is getting overextended now. And that's not a bad thing, but when we hold it in that position for 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, 2,000 hours a year, that's when it becomes a bad thing, holding these positions for a very long time. So you look over here on the right, he's got his feet flat on the floor. He raised up his chair a little bit. and his feet are flat on the floor. Not to mention over here, look at the angle that his knee has been at. That's going to cause a lot of knee dysfunction and muscle confusion throughout the leg, and even pain into the lower back. So it's better, much more better, not at a 90-degree angle to have the knee, but slightly more than a 90-degree angle, I guess. Whatever's comfortable for you, as long as your feet are not pulled underneath your body. And one rule of thumb to avoid that is to keep them flat on the floor, like this picture on the right. One more thing I want to mention about this video before we go through a quick little summary. Look at him not taking advantage of the back support on the picture on the left. On the picture on the right, he's taking advantage of the back support. We don't want to rest our whole body against it, our whole torso against it, I should say, but just want to take a little bit of the weight off, take a little bit of the pressure off of our torso, so we don't have to use so many core muscles to support it. And you see what happens when that's the case, because his head just falls forward and his body just leans forward. And it just causes a lot of repetitive strain and overuse injuries. So a quick summary on this image. Let's look at the picture on the right. Eye level, even with the monitor screen, top of the monitor screen, I should say. Elbows slightly higher than the desk, keyboard and mouse, and feet flat on the floor, number 3. 3 things to remember there. So here's a quick look at the spine from a side angle. I believe this is from the left side of the user. So you can notice the spine is naturally curved. So when people say sit up straight, don't overdo it. Like, don't necessarily straighten up too much, because you could overextend part of the spine. It could lose some of the natural curvatures. You get the lumbar curve down here, you got the thoracic spine here, and then you get the cervical spine up into the neck here. All these curves, this is what I refer to as a neutral spine or a balanced spine. When we lean forward too much, like the picture, let's go back to the picture on the left, he's got a compressed spine on the anterior side of his spine, the forward side, and overextended on the posterior side. So what that does is that causes a lot of strain and pressure on these discs. Slouching forward will cause pressure crushing the disc on the forward side, and then that same disc on the back is getting overextended, so it degenerates and rips just a little bit, which causes all kinds of issues I won't get into because I'm not an expert on that. But I just want to mention that from the side angle, it's very important to sit with a neutral spine as opposed to sitting up straight. Here's a quick look at what could happen if we sit on a wallet or a phone in our back pocket. I love this diagram right here. So everything from the back view, this is from the back view, as if the user is sitting in front of us. You'll notice sitting on his sit bones here, his spine goes straight up at the lower back. But over here, you put anything underneath one of those sit bones, it's going to cause a chain reaction. It's going to curve that spine. And that's one thing. The spine is made to curve. However, it's not made to curve for long periods of time and repetitive strain. 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, 2,000 hours a year. It's not made for that. That is just going to cause a lot of issues. So here's a look at the spine, last picture here, from the rear all the way up to the top. So when they say sit up straight from the rear view, now that's different. That's definitely, the spine needs to be straight in that situation. But from the side view, when they say sit up straight, over here, going back to this picture, this is what the natural curves in the spine looks like. So that's it for today's video, guys. Computer posture mistakes and fixes, episode 24. I want to thank you guys for watching and all the views and the subscribes. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You're taking a big step forward in improving the quality of your life, and that is definitely something to be proud of. Sign up for free email updates if you want. That's the best way to keep up with all my content. Sittingposture.com/newsletter, and I'll also include that link down in the description also. And also, of course, if you like this video and you want to see more in your feed, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. That helps me out big. The more people that see my videos, the more the more content I get to create. So I really appreciate you guys. Sittingposture.com/newsletter. If you sign up there, I only send out one email a week on Fridays. It's as my newsletter is called Computer Posture Weekly. One email a week on Fridays. I don't spam or sell email addresses. What I do is I include one link to the article that I wrote for my website that week, as well as 2 links to the YouTube videos that I posted to my channel that week. So sign up there, sittingposture.com/newsletter. That's it for today's video. Thanks, guys. We'll see you on the next video. All right, take care.